Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
There is a phrase in the book of Jeremiah that has stirred the minds of theologians, historians, and cultural researchers for centuries. Their visage is blacker than a coal, Lamentations for verse 8. And more precisely, the verse in Jeremiah 14 verse 2 states, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are blackened to the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. This poetic and mysterious passage has served as a point of great inquiry, especially among scholars and communities that identify with or research the ancient Hebrews. The significance of this verse is not simply in its literal rendering, but in the historical context, the cultural memory, and the anthropological evidence that echoes across time. Why is Judah described in terms of blackness? Is this metaphorical, symbolic, spiritual? Or does it also point to a physical, ethnic truth that modern mainstream scholarship has long ignored or obscured? To understand why the tribe of Judah is described as black unto the ground, one must first take a journey through the sands of the ancient Near East, beyond the sanitized and Eurocentric reconstructions of biblical imagery that have been popularized through centuries of Western art and theology. The ancient world of Judah, which was centered in the southern part of the historical land of Canaan, was a dynamic melting pot of Semitic-speaking peoples. This region was shaped not just by Semitic tribes, but by Egyptian influence, Cushitic migrations from Africa, and Canaanite intermarriage, all of which give us a very different picture of the ancient Hebrews than what Renaissance paintings would suggest. The ancient Israelites, particularly the tribe of Judah, lived among and were often indistinguishable from other peoples of color in the region. The land was surrounded by Ethiopia, Cush, Egypt, Mizraim, Canaan, and Arabia, all lands where the populations were undeniably dark-skinned by the standards of modern anthropology. In fact, Judah shared genealogical links with these people. Through biblical lineages, we find that Abraham, the patriarch of the Hebrew people, originally hailed from Ur of the Chaldees in Mesopotamia, an ancient black civilization in its own right. His descendants would later dwell in Canaan, a land whose name means low or humble, often interpreted in Hebrew as a dark or tan people. The sons of Jacob, including Judah, settled in this region. Judah, one of Jacob's 12 sons, became the father of the lineage from which King David, King Solomon, and ultimately the Messiah figure in Christian theology, Jesus of Nazareth, would descend. Throughout the Bible, many descriptions suggest that these individuals, particularly those from the tribe of Judah, had physical characteristics that linked them to darker skin tones. In Song of Solomon 1 verse 5, the lover proclaims, I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. The tents of Kedar were known to be black goatskin, indicating deep pigmentation. Solomon, from the tribe of Judah, is either describing himself or being described in ways that reinforce this association. From a linguistic and philological standpoint, the Hebrew word used in Jeremiah 14 verse 2 is kedar, which literally means to be dark, to mourn, or to become black. While some commentators argue that the term refers symbolically to mourning or despair, the text's parallelism with dust and earth, blackened to the ground, suggests a simile of physical appearance with the dark soil of the land. The rich, black soil of the region was a vital cultural marker in agrarian societies. In Semitic literature, blackness was both a literal skin tone and a sign of depth, earthiness, and connection to the divine and natural order. There's also a wide range of historical writings outside the Bible that support the claim that the Hebrews of antiquity were dark-skinned. Greek and Roman historians such as Tacitus noted that the Jews of antiquity were believed by some to have come from Ethiopia. Tacitus wrote in Histories 5.2, others assert that the Jews are of Ethiopian origin. This view, echoed by Diodorus Siculus and Strabo, was not rare in antiquity. These statements show that there was an awareness, even among outsiders, of the African roots, or at least the African affinities of the Hebrew people. Archaeological evidence from ancient Israel supports this interpretation. Wall paintings, sculptures, and funerary art from neighboring cultures depict Semitic people as having dark, ruddy, or brown complexions, similar to Egyptians, Nubians, and Ethiopians. While physical anthropology has long been considered a controversial field due to its colonial misuse, DNA evidence now gives us more tools to investigate ancient peoples. Genetic studies of ancient Canaanite remains show affinities with modern Lebanese, Palestinians, Bedouins, and certain East African populations. This complex admixture is not white European. In fact, it points to ancient Hebrews as having a deep genetic connection with both Afroasiatic and Nilotic peoples. The tribe of Judah, being one of the most prominent and longest-lasting tribes of Israel, intermarried with various neighboring populations. The marriage of King Solomon to the Queen of Sheba, who ruled over Ethiopia or southern Arabia, symbolizes more than diplomacy. It signals cultural and bloodline interconnection between the Hebrews and African peoples. Ethiopians today preserve ancient Jewish traditions, especially among the Beta Israel, Ethiopian Jews, who claim descent from the union of Solomon and Sheba, and whose customs mirror Levitical laws. During the Babylonian and Roman conquests, the tribe of Judah was scattered, thus beginning the diaspora. Many fled southward into Africa, a historically documented route, especially during the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD. Historians such as Rudolf R. Windsor in From Babylon to Timbuktu argue that hundreds of thousands of Hebrews fled into Africa, blending with local populations, particularly in West and Central Africa, where oral traditions still echo the arrival of people who followed Mosaic law, spoke a Semitic language, and kept Hebrew customs. These migrants would eventually become ancestors to groups like the Igbo of Nigeria, the Lemba of Zimbabwe, and the Ashanti of Ghana, many of whom to this day claim Jewish heritage. The description "black unto the ground" thus takes on a layered meaning. It is not only a poetic mourning, but also a racial identifier, a cultural marker, a clue to an identity that has been suppressed through centuries of colonial Christian iconography and whitewashing of biblical figures. The Renaissance period saw a deliberate reconstruction of biblical imagery to fit European standards. This cultural manipulation has caused generations to associate the tribe of Judah, and Hebrews in general, with fair-skinned figures, erasing the historical truth of their African and Afroasiatic origins. Today, with the rise of Hebrew Israelite movements, scholars, researchers, and spiritual communities are revisiting these truths, confronting long-held assumptions, and reevaluating the African presence in biblical history. The journey of the tribe of Judah from Canaan to Ethiopia, from Jerusalem to Timbuktu, and from captivity to resurgence, is deeply intertwined with the story of blackness, both as a physical identity and as a symbol of survival, continuity, and divine heritage. When the scripture says "black unto the ground," it is echoing not just the sorrow of a people in exile, but a declaration of their true origin, written plainly in the text and buried beneath centuries of misinterpretation.